Hey folks, it's Jerlene and I'm live. All right, I know it's been a moment, and I know it took me a little bit to get myself together tonight, as always. Jerlene Tatum, live from Long Beach, a mama with a voice, not afraid to use it. Here with the seventh episode called episode conversation. All Politricks are local, talking about local politics, preparing for an election that's happening on June 7th, statewide election, talking about some of the local Politricks that are happening here in Long Beach. Thank you folks for sticking with me, whoever you watch. If you're watching it now, you're watching it later, please give me a thumbs up. Let me know that you're here. Um, Thanks for folks that have been keeping tabs on my page over the last few weeks, a month or so of political shenanigans that I've been sharing. It's been some interesting dialogue. I've been pissing people off left and right. It's all good, people. But somebody's got to say something, right? Somebody's got to say something. We have to have some different perspective um, from what mainstream media gives us, right? We have to have some different perspective. And I'm not saying necessarily listen to my perspective, but at least check out the information that I'm sharing so you can come up with your own perspective. So again, it's Jerlene. I'm live from Long Beach. Talk of the town. All Politricks are local. This is the seventh series. Definitely should check out the last one. I'll reshare it because there was some I think some little good nuggets in there about the campaign that's going on. So tonight I'm going to talk about something completely boring. Okay. Completely boring. Campaign financials. Okay, they're not that boring. So get out a pen and paper. You are going to need to take notes for tonight, or get your phone out or something that you can keep notes. If you can, watch this on a computer screen. It's going to be a little challenging to be able to look at some of the things that I'm going to show tonight if you're watching this from your device. But however you watch it, I'm glad that you're here. But if you are here with me, give me a thumbs up. Let me know that you're here. Give me just a few moments so that I can finish getting everything set up. Again, Jerlene, all Politricks are local. And let's see. All right, had to take that down. If there's anybody out there that wants to join me, let me know. I got room, I got space for people to be able to join. So let's see. Actually, I wanted to send this. Oh my goodness. Learning how to use all this technology at the same time is very interesting. And if you don't do it, it gets it's a little challenging to do it. So I wanted to share the YouTube, but I can't figure out how to get to it. So, oh well, I'm not even going to worry about it. But what I am going to do, I am going to, if anyone is so bold and want to jump in to a conversation with me, let's see, click here. You want to come online with me to be part of this conversation. I will be, my goal in the next week is to actually allow or have space for candidates to go live with me. So within the next, I would say 7 to 10 days, that is a goal that I have, to allow candidates to jump on and be part of this conversation. I'm not ready to open that up for those folks right now. Yet you're welcome to be part of the dialogue that I'm about to have. Okay, so where do I begin? Oh my goodness, I am not even sure, y'all. This is it's well, all campaigns. Actually, before I even get to the financials, did you get your book? Did you get your book? Did your book come in the mail? Did you get your book? Did it come in the mail? I have to be honest, I didn't get my book. But my neighbor got their book. So I borrowed their book. My book has not arrived. Thank goodness I have a neighbor that likes to share. So this is very important. So this went out, and someone else said they did not. And I actually received a message from someone saying that for some reason, I live in the 7th district of Long Beach, and they said that the books were not going to be going out to people for like another week or something. I'm not sure how true that is. I know that I did not receive my book, but my neighbor did. So what's in this lovely book? So inside this lovely book, I don't know if you recall, 2 sessions back, I had a conversation about ballot statements, which I shared some of the ballot statements. I read some of the ballot statements. I pulled them up in this lovely book. There's ballot statements for all the candidates that we can vote for in our state, right? And in our city. So there's a lot of different elections that I'm not talking about, like insurance commissioner. I have no idea what's going on with that race. We have governor. Are we voting for governor? Wait a minute, did I miss something? Definitely I missed something. But in here we have our local candidates that are also in here. So something that was interesting, and I had shared this in a previous election. I should have marked these pages before I even got on. I talked about this in a previous conversation about like a fee that has to be paid. So in order for someone to be in this book, they have to pay a fee. If you want if you want information to be presented about you, you have to pay a fee. For Long Beach, I believe it's like $6,000 to be printed in your ballot statement to be printed. For mayor, it was like $6,000. And if you wanted it to be bilingual, you had to pay. And actually, I don't even know if I have my right book. I don't know if I have my right book. But anyway, check to see if you have your book. But I'm going to show a couple print screens. So one thing that has been brought to my attention regarding this book is that for the mayor's race of Long Beach, we have multiple candidates running for the mayor's race. I forgot what, 6 candidates or whatever, something like that, 5, 6 candidates. One of the candidates, we have 2 candidates that are considered the lead candidates. Okay. This is what media is referring to these candidates. If you notice, if you're reading and paying attention to any of the conversation about the politics in our city, media is only mentioning 2 candidates, right? They're mentioning Susie Price and Rex Richardson. And they're calling them the front runners. So just this past week, there was an article that came out about their finances. I'm going to share that as well this evening. Yet what's interesting in the ballot statement book with them, one of the candidates did not do a Spanish translation. Candidate Richardson did not do a Spanish translation of the ballot statement. I find that really interesting, especially when in our city we've been having a conversation about language access. It's been ongoing for at least 10 years, where it's been like where there's been organizations like really, really pushing for language access within our local government. So when, and actually I could probably show that or whatever, when it was shared with me that there's no Spanish translation for the candidate Richardson. That was really interesting, especially I don't know if you all remember when I had shared the information about the forum that took place, the mayoral candidates forum that took place in San Pedro, when candidate Richardson said the future is Latino. Well, the future is Latino, and he did not ensure that there was Spanish translation on his ballot statement. So anyway, pay attention to those different type of things, and I'm going to come back to that and why that's important, especially with the funding. So if you're paying attention, there's a lot of folks that got all kinds of gimmicks, and I don't want to diminish what folks are doing as far as their campaigning, but we have different candidates that are hosting these different things in the park. We have candidates that are promoting, they're going to these different restaurants and businesses, and they're like, oh, look at me, I support small business, and they're showing like all these pictures and stuff. Those are like their ways to be able to try to connect with a voter. So it's really interesting. Pay attention to that. We even have a candidate that is like promoting selling cupcakes. So with that is thinking about the money, and Carlos is over here busy in the um Carlos is busy over here in the comments. Thank you, Carlos. 43% Spanish speaking community. Of those, of that 43%, though, it would be interesting to know how many of them are registered voters. That's a question to ask. Maybe the numbers is considered insignificant, and maybe that particular candidate did not feel that that was a relevant population. I don't know, right? But that is something to think about and the question to ask. But anyway, so we have different candidates from the city council races, the school board races, the mayoral races, that are doing different things to be able to draw attention to themselves. One thing that people are doing is they have ads on social media. A thought that I had shared in my previous conversation was that, social media is not going to win this election. It's not. Social media is not going to win this election. What's going to win this election is individuals actually being out in the community and connecting with voters. Yet, if you're paying attention, if you're a regular Facebook user, you will see that all these different ads are popping up. So I'm going to share some of these ads, and I'm going to get to the finance part, but I want to do some dot connecting. Oh, wait, dot connecting. I need to make sure that I'm dressed perfectly for this, you all. So hold on. Let me get dressed perfectly for this conversation of connecting the dots. Let me get all dolled up here so you guys can. All right, now I'm dressed for the conversation. We're about to connect some dots, people. So if you give me just a moment, I'm going to pull up a couple. I'm going to pull up some. Let's see if I have it open. Okay, nope, I don't want that one. Give me just a moment. I'm going to pull up some things that I want to share with you all. See if I can find the right folder. Of course, it's not going to be easy for me to find because I did not pull it up in advance. But what I wanted to share with you, if many of you are probably, and I think I talked about this last time, about an ad that had been shared for I believe it was Rex Richardson. There was an ad that was posted by the sheriffs, not the sheriffs, by the fire department, support of council member Richardson for his mayoral race. Well, someone had asked the question, is that an independent expenditure? Did they pay for it? Well, one thing that I'm going to show you is what it looks like when someone is paying for someone's ad. And of course, I'm not able to find my folder. Hold on. Okay, give me just a moment. Well, while I'm trying to find my own folder, folks, are you taking the time to go to the different candidates events that are taking place? Are you going and looking at and meeting these candidates? One thing that is offered to us is an opportunity to meet with candidates. So I highly recommend that if you get that opportunity, that you take that opportunity. Okay, so what I have pulled up, and okay, give me just a moment to share this. All right, share. Okay, let's see if I can see. Let me take myself off the screen. So I don't know if you're able to see this or not, but what I did, this was the ad that popped up that was being in support of Council Member Richardson for his candidacy, right? One thing that's interesting, and it's funny because I was able to do this once and I've not been able to do this afterwards, is if you click on it, there's information that you can get about these ads. So for example, this particular ad started running on April 9th. It says who it was paid for. It was paid for by the Long Beach firefighters. So that means the firefighters paid for this ad in support of this candidate. Okay. Now, something that I was able to get to, let me keep going. Wrong way. Okay. I don't know if you can still see this. Let's see. Let me go back. All right. So I was able to get to this once. I have not been able to get to this again. But on here, this particular ad, and again, like I said, if you're on a mobile device, you're not going to be able to see this. This right here shows the amount of money that was spent on this ad by the Long Beach firefighters. They spent $1,062 on this ad. Now, mind you, there's multiple ads that are being ran simultaneously, and each one of them has a different price associated with it. So someone was asking again, how are these ads paid for, or are they independent expenditures? This is most likely, and I believe there may even be a disclaimer that says that this was paid for independently of the candidate, blah blah blah. So let's see if I can get to another one. Okay. Here's just another disclosure that basically said Long Beach firefighters paid for this ad from Long Beach firefighters. So I know, for example, this particular ad, there's comments that people are making saying that it's false advertisement. Well, the candidate did not get an opportunity to chime in on what was going to be said. So what a lot of the candidates do on their websites, they will set up a page of pictures of themselves, right? That allows for other folks to be able to grab the picture and use the picture in support of the candidate. So when you see that picture of that candidate did not necessarily give it to them. That organization or entity went out and got that picture to be able to create the ad or mailer in for these candidates. So something to keep in mind when we do see these mailers that make these claims that these candidates have been so great and successful, they may not necessarily be true, right? It's because whoever is supporting them, that's, I think, is like their wish list and their dream for that candidate. So again, and this is going to connect to something else later. So how I showed you that there was a the monetary amount that was only for $1,000 or so. Okay, give me just a moment. I'm clicking through. Ah, okay. So I'm gonna also show this. Give me just a moment. Let's share this again. So this is another part of that exact same ad. This is another part of it. Again, I was only able to get to this once. When I went back to try to pull up this information again about the ad, I wasn't able to. Yet this, when I clicked on that particular ad about Richardson, these are the type of demographics that ad is targeting. Okay, or not, or no, not targeting, who actually saw the ad. So I don't know if you can see, but it shows women to men. So for example, the demographic is 25 to 34, 17% of women saw this ad versus 16% men saw this ad. The age group of 65 plus, 4% women saw this ad, 3%. So this is also information that when in the campaign, that people are able to look at who is being reached. So I don't know. I've never set up an ad at this level, so I don't know how if this can be targeted or not. So anyway, that's again when you were seeing these ads, these are the type of things that are attached to them. All right, so let's go back. All right, why does that matter? So when you see these ads, whenever there's an ad for a candidate, it needs to say paid for by. So what I showed you, those ads were paid for by an entity, an organization. Um, when the candidate pays for it for themselves, they have to state paid for by. Now, it's going to be important in just a moment, y'all. All right, so let's see. Let me look at my notes over here. Okay. Before I actually dive into getting into the financials. So earlier this week, there was an article that ran in the Long Beach Post, and it was about the fundraising efforts of the top candidates for mayor. And the one thing that was really interesting about, so I'm not sure if before or after the article ran, candidate Price had something posted on her page that said highest raiser, and then candidate Richardson posted something that also touted the success of fundraising. And I know for myself as an individual, I it's kind of a turnoff. Like really, it seems very just arrogant. Yet there's something in politics that it is believed that the person who raises the most money is a more important and valuable candidate. It's like a political thing. Like even when some of these candidates are going to these different organizations, political PACs and stuff to get endorsements, one of the questions or one of the things that these endorsement organizations are looking for is how much money did they raise? And if they don't believe that they've raised a sufficient amount of money, they may not consider the person worthy enough to endorse. So again, thinking about I'm going to talk about endorsements. I'm not going to talk about endorsements too much tonight. I'm actually going to do another series just on endorsements after I touch on some of these financials. Yet again, there's this conversation that candidates are only viable if they've raised so much money. So if I'm actually trying to find the article right now because, of course, I didn't have it pulled up ahead of time. The and so with money, candidates, the more money candidates raise, the more access candidates have to voters. It means that they can push out more mailers. It means that they can pay for more walkers. It means that they have the privilege of putting out more ads, whether they be on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and such. It means they're able to do that. They're able to pay somebody to do it. So when you think about like the money, so even going back to something that the first point I brought up when I was talking about the ballot statements, the candidate ballot statements, and how uh, candidate Richardson did not pay the money for Spanish translation in the ballot was interesting when he has touted himself as being the highest fundraiser. And I still have not found this article, y'all. If somebody out there watching and they can send this article to me via messenger, it'll be really appreciated because I cannot find this article. Something that was interesting in the conversation around the fundraising of the top candidates is that, remember, candidate Price and candidate Richardson, before either of them got into the running for mayor, they were running for their council districts. So they already had funds in their fundraising accounts. Although it has been believed for a very long time that council member Richardson has been planning and preparing for a mayor for run for years. So, and I'm going to talk more about that. I'm not going to talk about it at this moment, yet I'm going to talk more about that. So when they had this whole conversation about who raised more money, well, they had money in their coffers before they even got into the mayoral race. And a council person Price got in it later than council person Richardson. And again, I can't find the article. If somebody can find that article and send it to me, I'll pull it up and show folks. But now I am going, let's see, am I still here? Am I still, okay. I can still see myself. I see folks, I see folks making comments. Let's see. I see comments. Okay, I'm just going to pull up some of these comments. All right. We're having a conversation about forums. Okay. It seemed like people were just having a whole conversation in the comments. I'm like, I'm talking about financials. We're not how we get on forums. Anyway, so I'm going to bring up financials. So I created a shared folder, which I will share right now. Give me a moment. My seat's too high. Okay. I'm going to share this folder right now for anybody who is interested in taking a look at it. So so if folks are still with me, let me know you're still with me. Give me a thumbs up. Um, okay. So what I just did, I just shared, uh-oh, did it let me share it? Mm-mm. Ah, okay. Oop, I shared it twice. Okay. So, I created a folder of financial records. Now, this is not all the records. This is only what I had time to download, and I'm going to just show a couple examples. So, all one thing that some folks don't realize is this all this information is public information. You want to know where your candidates are getting their money. It's public record. They are required by law to report all of the money they bring in for fundraising. And they're also required by law to record and report all of their spending. Okay. All, ALL, all. Now, one thing that was really interesting, and I'm going to start with one candidate and I'm gonna work my way to some other candidates. And some of these things like these dots connecting, and we talk about the endorsements, and then we talked about some of the expenses associated with ballot statements and stuff. It's gonna make a little bit more sense in just a moment. So anyway, I create a folder, public folder with public information. Does not have all the candidate information in there yet. If anybody else want to help me out to get that information in there, I would love it. And I created it and I've been sharing it on my Facebook page because I would like for people to be able to have easy access to it. Now, I'm going to pull up something real quick. Let me share this real quick this is where I receive my information. So before I actually go into it, okay. So on the City of Long Beach's website, you can go to the clerk. And let me take myself off screen so I have more room. You can go to the clerk's website to the campaign committee information, and you can put in a candidate's name, and it will come up with all the different committees that are associated with this candidate, present and past. So right now, if you notice, I have Robert Garcia for Lieutenant Governor 2026 up. That is a very interesting campaign report. And one of it is interesting because people are like, oh, he was running for lieutenant governor. Something that I learned, one of the reasons our current mayor of Long Beach, Robert Garcia, had a lieutenant governor uh, um, um, campaign committee open is because it was flexibility in the way that money could be raised. So I'm going to talk about that. I may have to spend just a whole conversation just on that because and it's very and it's important because when I start talking about some of these other candidates, and I can tell you right now, I'm not going to be able to complete this, and I'm going to have to stop and come back to this because this is again, once I start going into this, it's like I had posted, I feel like I was going down a rabbit hole as I was looking into these candidate reports, and I felt like I was in Alice in Wonderland, like the really dark one, and I was just going on this whole. But anyway, on the city's website, you can go in, and I'm gonna type in. Who can I put in? I'm gonna put in Lindy. So Lindy, and I'm just picking a candidate. Lindy is a candidate for city prosecutor. So I'm just putting his name in just so that you can see how this works. So I put his name in. Hopefully people can see the bottom part of the screen. Let's see if you can see the bottom part of the screen. It's a Nicholas Lindy for Long Beach City Prosecutor 2022. Now, when you go there, you click on it, you say view forms, and then it brings you up all the documentation that this candidate has filed in this process. So, recipient committee campaign statement. This is what talks about the money. So, it comes in a PDF or you can do it in Excel. So I'm just going to pull this up again. I just wanted people to see how easy it is to get this information. And again, like I said, I have downloaded this information. So it's in a shared folder, which I'm going to get to in just a moment. So here, This is what a recipient campaign statement looks like. So this was how easy it was to pull it up. I just went to the city's website. I put in the person's name. I found the report that I wanted. Let's do Salgado. Salgado. Uh-oh. Salgado. Same thing. Put it in, it brings up the form. You click on view forms. That's how easy it is to get to. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing. Okay, give me just a moment. Give me just a moment. I got my phone's ringing, y'all. Hold on. Let me respond. Okay. Now I'm going to my shared folder. So in my shared folder, okay, okay, so I'm in my shared folder. So give me just a moment so that I can share this. Share. Okay. So what I did, I just pulled up, and actually I probably should pull this up differently so you could see it better. I just pulled up the candidate statement for mayoral candidate Franklin Sims. So I'm pulling his up. I'm going to pull up other ones. One thing that you'll see in this is, I probably should pull this up differently. And my phone is over here just going crazy. Okay. Okay, that kind of threw me off. Threw off my all right, apologies for that, people. Okay. So in this form, I can't even get to it now. Okay, I got stuff happening on my screen. Hold on. I got all kind of crazy stuff happening on my screen. Let's try this again. All righty. Let's try this again. Apologies, people. I lost my flow. Okay. So I have Franklin Sims pulled up. One thing that's interesting, what I had shared before about everything has to be reported on a financial. So one thing when I looked at this financial, just based upon some of the visuals that I've seen online, the different ads and such, things are missing from these financials, right? Things are missing. Everything has to be reported. In the earlier filing process, this candidate did not file what's called a 460, and yet there was visible activity happening that demonstrated that something had been paid for. So one thing that was interesting that and it's not required. A ballot statement costs a certain amount of money. Ballot statements or filing. When a candidate files, there is a fee associated with it. Some of the candidates choose to eat that cost, meaning they pay for it out of pocket. Some of them choose to be reimbursed for it. It is, from what I've been told, is the only expense where a candidate can choose to just not charge it to their account. that they could just eat the cost. But yet what was interesting for the mayor's race is about $6,000. So this candidate who, and I'm going to put there, who lists themselves as a homemaker, that they don't list that they have any type of employment, does not show the fee associated with running for a mayor. So anyway, I wanted to bring that up. I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of time on that. Yet I don't know how much of this you were able to see on here, but I want you to take a look at some of the folks that have made financial contributions. Again, this is all public information, but I don't want to spend a whole bunch of time on this candidate's filing, because there's other candidates filing that I think are more important to take a look at. So as I shared a little while ago, was that what's considered the top runners, Price and Richardson. Woo, okay. It's gonna take just a moment for these to open up. Okay, so because these are really big files. So I'm gonna open up Richardson's first. So they were required to um close, the reporting period ended like April 23rd or something, and they were required to have submitted all their information. This document, just for candidate Richardson, is 190 pages. Okay, 190 pages. So if someone is so inclined to actually take a look at, oh, and I didn't even share it. I'm not even sharing it. I got it pulled up. I'm looking at it. I'm not even sharing it. It is 190 pages. Okay, now, so here we go. But this is what's required of candidates. All candidates are required. So when we talk about, or when I talk about candidates not reporting everything, it's kind of unfair to the candidates that do report everything. So and again, it's not legal for candidates to not report all their information. Now, I'm sure some folks are haphazard and they intentionally not do it. It's not legal. Something that I had shared in a previous post is that candidates are not supposed to be accepting cash contributions. So if you see, or you hear, or you know that candidates are soliciting for cash contributions, it doesn't matter if it's $5. They're not supposed to be doing that. Okay. It is a violation of the Fair Political Campaign rules, right? So anyway, back to Richardson. 190 pages. So the max that an individual can give in a mayoral race is $900. So I don't know, again, if you're not on a computer, this may be hard to see on a device, yet he has a lot of contributors that have given you the max of $900. A lot of contributions have come from outside of the city. We got contributions from Claremont, Sacramento, and but this is where it kind of gets interesting. We have candidates who have given from their campaign coffers to this candidates. For example, Lena Gonzalez, senator for 2024. Now, I'm gonna be honest, y'all. I have not gone through this 190 pages. I actually was more interested in the contributions that had been given prior to this period. That was something that I was actually spending more time looking at. So I have not actually looked at Richardson's campaign contributions this in depth. Now, there's another committee that was launched years ago that was like uplift families or whatever. That's got some stuff in it that I think I'm just going to have to talk just about that. But I'm going to wait. I'm probably going to wait until after the primary to go more in depth in some of this conversation about these financials. That's if someone does not win outright on June 7th. So one thing about the election on June 7th, anyone who receives 51%, 50 plus 1% wins. So whatever candidate and whatever race, that's who wins. Okay. So in these races where they have multiple candidates, 5, 6 candidates running, it's means the vote count gets distributed across these different, so the different candidates. So the likelihood of somebody winning 50% plus one is going to be very, it's, I don't want to say it's low, but it's going to take away from that possibility. Okay, so I'm still in Richardson's. Um, I'm still in Richardson's financials right now. Okay. So again, this is all public information. So I had shared earlier, I had showed an ad that was being paid for by the Long Beach firefighters PAC. Here in his financials, they have given a direct contribution to him directly from the PAC. It's interesting. Wow. We have chief of staff of other political elects that work for the city that have given contributions directly. This is to me, it's interesting yet disturbing at the same time, because we like follow the money. Where's the money? What does that mean when someone is giving? Right? What does it mean? Does it mean, is there what kind of relationship exists? So this one's really interesting, and this right here, actually, this is something that I personally have a lot of issues with. So if you can see this, it says Mary's and Day Hospice City Council 2019 office holder account has given a max of $900. So I had shared in a previous conversation about the office holder accounts. So our political elects in our local government in Long Beach, they have what's called an office holder account, which is separate from their campaign accounts. And in these office holder accounts, they get to fundraise. They get to go out and they get to fundraise. They get to go out and they get to fundraise, and they say, hey, give me money for my office holder account so that I can give back to the community. Well, what happened, there was some change in the ordinances, or I don't know if it's the charter, the ordinances, whatever. I have to look it up. I've actually shared it before. That basically gave them permission that they can go out, claim that they're raising money to be able to do better by the community, and give it to other politicians. So basically, and I'm just going to be real, this right here is very problematic for me. Now, I'm telling y'all, I did not look at these financials prior to going on, at least not this particular packet of financials. But to see that a sitting council member has given $900 to a mayoral candidate, I think that that's problematic. Now, I'm sorry, I know my voice is getting a little elevated. That's a problem. And like I said, I'm not going to be able to finish this because I'm going to have to shut this down. I just wanted to be able to give you guys, and this is going to be a start. I'm going to have to probably spend some time just going through these and looking. Now, one thing about this whole office holder, or the candidates, one candidate giving one political elect or candidate given to another candidate specifically, and this is what I was looking at for previous campaigns. Richardson has given from his office holder account financial contributions to many of the same people who are turning around and giving financial contributions back to him. I am going to do some cross-referencing, right? And it's not just Richardson. There's other candidates that have done the same thing. Yet I'm sharing this information because when we think about all the dynamics that goes into our leadership and who's being elected, it's not pretty. It's boring, right? It's boring. Yet it's something that it would be nice if we all knew about. We're not going to unless we take the time to look at it. This is, like I said, 190 pages. Who really wants to go through 190 pages? Who really wants to go through 190 pages? I'm actually just kind of looking at this, starting to feel a little bit overwhelmed. But even here, we have Holly Mitchell, supervisor for Los Angeles County. I mean, hey, okay, yeah, other political elects are supporting. Yet when you go through the financials and you see that money has been given from campaign account to campaign account, yeah. But okay, so here's something that's interesting. We have I'm not even going to start calling out names. I'm just going to tell you these. I've posted them in a folder. In all fairness, what I'm going to do, I'm going to close out of this. Oh, again, here we go again. I'm just looking at it. We got the city staff member, another city staff member. We have another a chief of staff for another political elect that is making financial contributions to a candidate is I don't know. I find it just such a problem. But that's me personally. I'm gonna go out of here. Just out of fairness, I am going to bring up. I'm going to show prices. Um, she had whoa. I thought 190 pages was a lot. She has 283 pages of financial contributions. Okay. So let me share that. She has 283 pages. So again, a lot goes into definitely that's why they have treasurers. I'm going to talk about that. Oh my goodness, there's so much information. What's interesting is how many of our candidates across multiple elections have the same treasurer. So anyway, politics is big business. Campaign is big business. There's people who are making a lot of money. You know, one thing about it, the amount of money that is being made, just think they raised $500,000. There's a fundraiser that's getting like a 20% cut off of that. It's big business. So, and here's the thing about it, whether the candidate wins or loses, the people who are working in these campaigns, they're still making money. All right. So here's another page. I did not show this in Richardson's page, but here, this is what it looks like in Price's page. The monetary contributions for the period, year to date, payments made, is how much money was paid out. So just in the time of the beginning of this year, January to now, 235,000 plus dollars has been spent in campaigning. Wow. Wow. Now, I didn't show the expenses in Richardson's. I'm not going to show that right now. I'm actually going to go ahead and shut this down because this is actually a lot of information and I think I've shared enough at this point. But again, take the time. I've downloaded the different, I've downloaded the files in a shared folder. It's public. You can definitely take a look. Something that is interesting that you will see that there are people that give to both candidates. You will see, and they'll give the exact same amount. And there's a belief that, you know, well, whoever wins, we got to be able to commingle with them, right? I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop. I'm at 48 minutes, and my head's starting to spin a little bit. I apologize if I've bored you all. And when my phone started going a little crazy, that kind of threw me off a little bit too. Yet shared folder. I'm gonna come back to this conversation. I'm going to actually go through this financials and I'm going to pick some specifics. And like I said, I had shared one of the things that I did, I took some time and looked at financials from the previous years. And I not only did I look at the candidates that are running for our local election, our city council, our mayor, I looked at some of the campaigns that took place in some of the measures, and this, it was like, and of where fundraising was happening to be able to promote some different ballot item or whatever. They play into this. And even when I'm going to talk about endorsements as well, endorsements play into this as well, because the one thing that I discovered with this, our mayor race, is that a candidate, and I'll say it, Richardson, made a lot of financial contributions to many of the same organizations that have now endorsed him. Follow the money, people. Follow the money, connect the dots. All politics are local. I'm cutting this off because I think I just blew my own mind. All right, folks, everyone have a good night.